like suicide awareness, into wellness.
Hi everybody,
Mental health has actually not gotten its grassroots.
we are at Queen's Park again. There is a small protest today again to end the state of emergency in Ontario.
We have an even larger actually starting up. Places are reporting that they have seen a totality of 29 suicides to date. I am actually titling Death of Distress. I have been on this street for 11 days. I camped out, I will not go.
Give me this.
I am here on a mission of unity, of peace, love, unity,
I don't want any water.
to respect. I am retitling Clear. It was left somewhere in the 90s. My biggest concern is that people are going to be taking their life by their own hands. The stress of this, everything going on. I myself
Hi,
was
Sylvain.
facing my balcony for about 12 days before coming here, and hugs live for again. So I'm actually calling that there's an exacerbated issue, a silent pandemic that is actually coming through. We have 800,000 suicides, death of distress. I'm even working on myself. We have 800,000 deaths of distress for 2019. There are active studies done multiple where it shows
It's just a small group here today, guys.
tripling or quadrupling for every 1% unemployment. It's not times 15, that's times 2, times 2, times 2, for about 15 times. Stress and
Sorry about the
lockdown,
sound issues, guys.
Everything, all this mask wearing, putting our kids back to these schools in this state of this year, it's going to exacerbate these issues. Give it 5 to 10 years, and that compounded math, 26 billion. That is 5 times Earth's population. I will admit that projection is nuts.
Hi, Tom.
But if we drop down to 10% of the plugged in numbers, this is just me putting numbers together, we are still its population in 5 to 10 years, dying by distress and their own hand. That is why I'm actually gone through a mental health journey that's left my home in jeopardy. COVID-19 and lockdown restrictions actually prevent the eviction of me from my home. I did some temporary part-time work here and there through 2019. I almost had employment. I was set to start employment, and COVID-19 stopped that, giving me an income boost. I am actually able to repair my life because of lockdown. I will correctly has been quite a benefit to my life. Yet I'm still looking at my balcony, wanting to jump, because connection, no matter how well or your foundation, connection is the key. That is how the homeless survive in this community. They have accepted me and embraced me because I am fighting for everyone in this world. So I really ask everyone to stop and think. I am out giving my life to dehome myself, destabilize my life, because there are so many people that will not survive. I can survive in many different ways, but people are starting to take their own lives.
No, Magdalena, this is in Toronto.
Autistic, dissociative personality disorder.
Unfortunately, we are having some sound issues today.
Insane web of stigmas that starts and stems with invisible illness. If you look at someone agitated, having a rough moment, that's mental health visible. We are trained and taught to ignore the signs, to walk away and not put a hand on someone's back when they're having a hard time. These small things that can actually save a life. I constantly stop if I see someone just leaning down, staring up the bridge. Run for afraid. I make sure that they're having a good moment and checking themselves and not considering the worst. And I ask everyone to start making a world of visibility, to care for each other. If you're still...
Yeah, unfortunately, I know the sound is coming in and out, guys. I'm sorry about that. We have a different sound system today.
We need to support each other and slowly make those steps back. So again, I am calling for this to end.
No, this is the Legislature building in Ontario. That's really funny, Magdalena.
I was isolated is to volunteer in the developmental rooms because these were my friends who wouldn't roll me down garbage cans every day at lunch. These were my friends. And when volunteering became the cool thing, I had to go back into isolation. Isolated and away from the group. Systemic issues, and I still am fighting within myself to actually feel acceptance within communities because again, I don't catch all the cues. I need to be told directly. I tell for both of us, we really need to have these open discussions, but most of all, we are about to send kids into my life that I would never wish on my life. I come out to state that we are pushing people into what I would never wish. We need to stop. We need to go back. We need to go back to yesterday to build a better tomorrow. 25% of what's happening, respecting people's spaces, respecting the sick. How some of this stuff should have been done through flu season to protect those people that are susceptible. There is so much to learn and grow from in this situation. I mean, the things that are going on as I walk around the city, I have been allowed out of this place of peace and unity and understanding to speak to and wearing masks. Thank you for saying and I am about that.
In case you're wondering about the background sounds, there is another protest having to do with elderly abuse and what's been happening in care homes in Ontario. It would be nice if we could be together, but they came here of their own accord. They have their own group.
We have the Afro-Indigenous community, but I don't.
So yeah, if you see at the other end of the Queen's Park lawn, there is another protest, and they have a stronger sound system.
Wholeheartedly, because I fight for the mental health that affects everybody. I fight for that peace and love, that work. And they have embraced me, giving me safety. My face camp is there. My load has been lightened. There is amazing things happening in this world, and we need to unite. And I'm asking everybody in the afternoon to come down to that community, stow your cameras, and respect the anonymity of what's going on there. But help and support as an ally. This is a true intersectional community, Afro-Indigenous, and now silent oppression of mental health. I'm calling for a change to the world. I'm calling everyone to look deep inside, look at yourselves and what's going on, and accept and move forward and grow.
Kids are playing, running.
Foundation. I am actually proud to say I'm now an Ontario business owner. This progression has actually led me to a new progression in my life. I am never going to drop this mission. I have made the eternal to fall on the sword for every single one of you.
Don't fall on the sword, brother.
I will sacrifice everything because as I do, I gain more than I ever thought possible. So know that I am out here every day, fighting for everyone, fighting for it. And as this finishes and we gain momentum, I will stay with those in Phillips Square to show the support. I will stay.
I just need somebody to hold this for me. I'll need somebody to hold my phone because I'm gonna go up and say a few words. Okay. Would you be so kind?
You will see a GoFundMe. Check out the Mental Health is Visible on Facebook. Instagram, it has all the stories. MATTHEWHAYLEY. Follow along. I am calling for donations. I can't promise charity, receipts, or any of that, but what I can promise is this mission seen through to a world that is inclusive and better. I will commit 10% of donations to Fearless Ontario, and I am making a statement of symbolism that I will commit 50% the Afro-Indigenous group actually taking that step forward, show them that respect. So please, please help this mission on Mental Health is Visible, because I'm behind every single movement that holds peace, love, compassion, and respect. Mark my words, I will open up a new, visible world of love, care, understanding. And I'm telling you, I've been calling this mental health issue just like Vlad. Everything he's been saying has been coming true. And I am telling you, mark my words. This is my warning. My last request. Call CBC, send the letters. You guys are doing a great job towards Parliament. I need some help getting in front of a real camera. They are starting to report this story, but for some reason, they're afraid to come and talk. 77. Why? I love everybody. Even I find space. Human being, he is massively misguided and he is obviously hurting. His mental health is suffering more than any of ours because look at what he is doing. So I called the CEO. I have a hub for you or an N95 mask, whichever way you want to progress. But bring me into the fold as a mental health advisor who speaks on the behalf of mental health. I will take minimal salaries. My mission is not about money. It is about change. And let me help draft your apology and your step down. So maybe you have about the same fraction of percentage chance as COVID death rates at some redemption. I'll give you that 0.06. But let me see if I can increase that for you, Trudeau. As much as I am upsetting you and angry, I will still hold space and love you. Thank you.
What happened, nephew? Okay, so next we're gonna bring Letitia. Letitia, come up. Let's speak about anything. It's on, everyone.
Trying to make a difference. And the message I have today, everyone, is a brief message, and I think it's a powerful one. And what my sign says is, their motivation is greed and power. Our motivation is the future of our children. Our why is much, much stronger. Therefore, we will win. In business, I've always been told you have to know your why. And when you have a strong why, you can move mountains. Our why is the strongest why we can possibly imagine. We are fighting for the survival of our species and for the future of our children. Mr. Vernon Coleman, he's a UK author and thinker. He has a video that I recommend to everyone. And it's why we're fighting for our future and why we will win. And his message is essentially the same. Because our why is so strong, it is far more powerful than the motivations of these misguided beings that are trying to impose this top-down agenda on all of us. Therefore, rest assured, my friends, we are on the right side of this battle. We are on the right side, and we will make a difference. Wow, this is much better. Okay, I don't know. Should I say it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone again. My name is Letitia. I am a Canadian like all of you here. And my message today is simple. When you have a strong why, you can move mountains. In business, I've always been told you have to know your why. And when you have a strong why, that can make the biggest difference. So our why, what my sign says is their motivation, and by they, I mean the misguided beings, controllers that are trying to impose this inhumane agenda on the rest of us. Their motivation is greed, power, control. Those things can take you far. However, our motivation is the future of our species, the future of our children, the future of humanity, a just and free world for all of us. Which motivation do you think is stronger? Of course, our motivation is far, far stronger. So rest assured, my friends, We are fighting a just battle. We are standing grounded in the strongest possible cause. Our motivation is the strongest motivation we could have, and that is why we will win. And there is a thinker and author in the UK, and he put out, his name is Vernon Coleman, Vernon Coleman, COLEMAN.com. He put out a video called Why We're Fighting for Our Future and Why We Will Win. And his message is essentially the same. Rest assured, our why is far stronger than their why. Therefore, my friends, we will win this war. We will win this battle for the future of humanity. We have God on our side. We have light on our side. We have love on our side. We will win. Love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a stand. And rest assured, we will win. God bless you all.
Hi everybody, how you doing? It's a beautiful day today, not so much sun, but it's still gorgeous, and I'm glad to see so many faces out here today. My name is Kellyanne Wolf. We've got a few more speakers for you.
Thanks, everyone.
And right now I'd like to invite Tino up to the microphone.
Woo!
Someone take a video of that email?
Yes.
I don't know.
What a good turnout, I'm so happy.
Yes.
Tino, everybody, thank you.
Thank you. Woo! Thank you. Yeah.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming out again. I was here last week and did a speech.
Thanks, Tino.
Unfortunately, I didn't use my notes and I forgot about half of what I said, so I'm going to rely on the paper a little more. Last week I spoke about the CDC releasing a report stating that the testing methods are 50% inaccurate and how easily obtainable this information is to the public. So you have to wonder what these experts are doing in there. If they're so-called experts, they should have information that we have about this false data. It's heavily inflated. So let's just go over some of the points that prove the information is false, starting with the 50% inaccurate tests.
Boo!
We also know that the flu shots, like I mentioned, if you had a flu shot, the antibodies will test as a positive when you have the test. So all these infected people raising the COVID bar that we're being locked down under, it could be flu. But we don't even know for sure, because if they checked, it would be 50% wrong anyway. So we also know they've been sending out contaminated test kits in the tens of thousands all over the world. So you're getting tested with a contaminated needle or swab or whatever they're using. It's just, it's incredible. They're also double counting the infected patients in the hospitals. But they're not correcting the numbers. They know the information is wrong, but we still show the data as double counted. The doctors are also allowed to assume that you have COVID based on symptoms without testing. So if you come in with a sniffle or a headache or any sort of flu symptom, this also shows as a COVID symptom and they chalk it up as COVID. We also know that environmental toxins and radiation, as well as the flu shots, cause shortness of breath. Okay, if you look it up on the CDC website, the flu shot side effect is shortness of breath. So keep that in mind when you're seeing these stats. Death certificates are also being forged. If you test positive, false positive, they chalk up your death as a COVID death, even though you've had other pre-existing conditions, cancers, diabetes, stroke. That's totally unacceptable. So when you come down to it, these numbers are pretty much down to zero, if you think about it. I'd like to see a breakdown of all these numbers. I'd like to see the experts come out with a plan to correct this information and get us out of this lockdown. Can you just imagine if you went to your school teacher and submitted an essay or a test with that much falsity, what would your score be on that test? I mean, this is incredible that we're still locked down, and it's got to stop. Next thing I did, last night I was having a debate online, which I hardly ever do, but I did it because I'm a fish. I got fished in. And I was debating whether masks, certain types of masks would prevent virus to pass through. And I brought some samples for us, and I'm going to do a poll with a show of hands or clapping. You tell me which mask is going to save you from this virus. We have a $55 Home Depot mask, dual cartridge. This is a P100 rating. It means 100% of the particles that it's rated for will be stopped. This is the cloth mask that they're mandating. Okay? Which one is going to stop the virus, the COVID, the disease?
Neither.
Is it this one?
No one.
None of them.
Is it this one?
No.
See, you're all pretty smart. Neither of these masks are going to stop the virus because this P100 filter is 3 times larger than the actual virus. It may stop the droplets, but not the actual virus. As we say, droplets are getting rained on. Check it out. Okay, another problem with this mask is it has a one-way check valve, so I can breathe out without any filtration. So this is junk, and this is even worse because at least I can breathe out with this one. This one is just recycling the garbage back into my body.
Ooh.
So let's do some research. These experts that are forcing us or want to mandate these masks, they're totally criminal. Let's call a spade a spade. You're not experts. We have more information than you do.
Yeah,
Get me on
clearly.
your show, AN 1010, CBC, where are you?
Yeah.
Get me on your show. I got the data right from this government sites.
Woo!
CBC's down there. Bring your camera up here. Let's get me on TV. Yeah. I've got government data that shows that you're wrong.
Everything is
Peace out.
it's a lie.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, Tino. Woo!
Because people will stop to wear a mask if they will tell the truth.
Sorry, I'm not sure who's up. Jim?
Okay, awesome. Yes, Smith.
Hi, my name's Kieran,
Hi, Kieran.
and I'm going to talk about our kids because amid all this talk of protecting our most vulnerable, the people who are really most vulnerable, our children, are
Yes.
mostly left out of the question. A fabricated crisis like this, arising at a developmental period in their lives, is going to leave a permanent imprint on our children, and we can't let that happen. So the elites like to get to kids young, before they've been able to develop their critical thinking faculties, while they still rely on the adults around them to shape how they see the world. From the Hitler Youth to Stasi kids in East Germany, this has been a consistent pattern. And kids growing up nowadays aren't going to know the old normal, they're only going to know the new normal, where they only feel safe if they have masks on, and they don't want to touch the other children around them because they could be plague carriers.
We cannot let that happen, guys. We cannot.
So, you may have seen pictures from the trauma factories, schools in China, where kids
They really-
line up between red lines, staying 6 feet apart, they're all wearing masks,
Horrible.
they get their temperature checked, then, they get swabbed before going into school, and that's just a daily occurrence, that's just normal now.
Yes, they should check oxygen level.
No, my
So,
God.
especially kids,
It's a
maybe 2
crime.
to 12, that's a crucial developmental window.
2 teenagers died in
It's going to
China.
create a generation of germaphobes. If childhood experience has any impact on future adult neuroses, then this is going to be the most vigilant, Lysol wiping, disinfectant spraying generation that we have ever seen.
Ooh, we don't want that.
Rather than learning that proper nutrition and physical exercise is the key to health, they're going to think that the only way they can be safe is if they take all of the toxins applied by the pharmaceutical industry that they've seen on TV and advertisements.
Boo, boo. We do
That-
not want that.
That pharmaceuticals are the only defense against invisible, ubiquitous threats. Small children not being able to play face-to-face with their same-age peers is also going to have an incredibly detrimental effect on kids. Because during the ages of 2 to 4, that's when you learn how to play with others. You might have seen toddlers. They don't know how to play with others. They just say, oh, that's mine. Oh, that's mine.
That's right.
So from 2 to 4, they need to learn how to share and how to play in a fair way. And if they're locked inside and they can't see their friends, they're never going to learn that. And they'll be permanently socially disabled. They'll be left behind by the other children. And that happens. There is clear
Unacceptable.
evidence in the literature that this is a real effect that happens. So anything more than a month is going to be permanently detrimental to our kids. And then, after practicing social distancing for months on end, children are going to find it difficult to go back to playing like normal, touching their friends, hugging their friends, playing tag. Especially kids with social anxiety, which many of our kids now have.
So sad.
Anything that caters to their challenges socially is going to be that much harder to overcome afterwards. And all of those factors suggest a massive upsurge in mental illness in this next generation. Mental illness is already a hallmark of the millennial generation, and Gen Z isn't doing much better. As of 2017, 12.7% of Americans over the age of 12 were currently on antidepressant medication.
Wow.
Additionally, 300,000 toddlers in the US were on antidepressant medication.
Wow.
I don't know how on earth you would diagnose a toddler with mental
my love.
illness and then decide that it's a good idea to give them antidepressant drugs.
Not yet, my love.
Per the diathesis stress model of depression, that is, you can overcome some trauma, but if you have repeated trauma, that eventually exceeds your ability to overcome it, and you develop a mood disorder. So a society-wide psychosis over the flu is almost guaranteed to push kids that would have otherwise been on the brink over the edge into a debilitating illness that will keep them dependent on the pharmaceutical industry and easily compliant with government regulations. I see that kid has no fear. He's just being a kid.
Yep.
And that makes me happy to see. It makes me happy to see all these kids out here every week,
Yes.
just playing, just being normal.
Yes.
That's what I like. When I was in the park a few days ago, I was taking down the caution tape, and the mothers around me thanked me for doing that. And all the kids were running around the park and playing on the swings that I'd unhooked and cut the zip ties off of so that the kids could use the playground and be kids. Social distancing is child abuse. Even
Yes,
even
it
sick
is.
kids
It
say
is.
that.
Yeah.
Saying that
Woo!
in September, the school should open and there should be no social distancing and no masks.
Yes.
finally-
Yes. Yes.
Consent from a public
Yes.
institution. It's rare.
Thank goodness.
On top of that, since the 50s, children's neighborhood playgroups have suffered terribly. From child abduction scares, to serial killer scares, to satanic child sacrifice scares.
So sad. So
After a
horrible.
pandemic scare, helicopter parents are going to find it difficult to let their kids go outside without a hazmat suit on. How's that going to affect our children?
We can't let that happen.
Of necessity, during this time, kids are going to be interacting with their friends through screens. So they're not going to develop the skills to socialize in person. It increases the dependence of children on social media to the detriment of their real-world skills that everybody needs to develop.
Yeah.
It's become a normal fact of life that kids as young as 2 or 3 are sat down on an iPad while the parents watch Netflix. And this is only going to reinforce that trend.
Oh my God.
Once children have become adept at using technology to socialize,
Oh jeez. Look at
it's
that
going to be more
family
difficult to
behind.
coax them into pursuing more difficult socializing in person when they've already become used to speaking on their phones. I have step-siblings, and they tell me the same thing, that their friends have terrible social skills, and they find it very difficult to meet new people without anxiety and a great deal of awkwardness. And maybe the awkwardness is normal, but the anxiety isn't. And that's what we're doing to our kids, and we can't let that happen.
We can't let that happen.
So, major props to all the parents who are here right now with their kids, letting their kids have a normal childhood,
Yes.
and not keeping them inside, stuck to a screen. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kieran. Woo!
Kieran, everybody. So I would like, Gracie, can I please have that?
Well, play with them.
Yeah, I'd like that thing. So my daughter wanted to come up and speak, but she's very nervous.
Oh, don't worry. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
It's okay. Maybe tomorrow. I'm just gonna take this. So I'd like to talk to you guys about a few other things. Since this began, we know that there's been some ridiculous measures put on all of us. But what's more ridiculous is the fact that our parliament, the building that holds all the people that we have elected in this province, who are supposed to be representing our voices, are supposed to be sitting in there 5 days a week.
Right.
They're supposed to be sitting inside this house 5 days a week, representing our voices, talking about our concerns, changing the things that we want changed, making our province better for all of us. But no, they're not doing that. Once every couple of weeks, they sit down for 2 days. 2 days. Do you think that's enough time to represent all the people of Ontario?
No.
No, it's not. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody that works in that building at our expense.
That's right.
They work for us. We don't work for them.
That's right. That's right.
We're the boss. It's our rules. It's our interests. It's our wants, it's our needs, and our necessities that they're supposed to be in there discussing. They're not supposed to be in there discussing how long they're going to restrict us.
Yeah.
How much more they're going to oppress our children. The last time mass groups of people were forced to wear masks was during slavery.
Wow.
Keep that in mind.
Wow.
Slavery. Don't speak unless I approve what you say. Don't breathe in someone else's space. But don't worry, I'll keep you safe.
Ooh.
I'm sorry. Last time I checked, we have amazing police to keep us safe.
Yeah.
Isn't that their job?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
They put themselves on the line to keep us safe. I don't need the Premier of Ontario to keep me safe.
Yep.
No offense.
Yep.
He's not very good at keeping himself safe.
I don't know.
Democracy is the most fundamental, important portion of our entire society. And the problem is that most people don't understand what democracy actually is because it's so often used as a marketing gimmick during an election year. Democracy is the only philosophy that can accommodate the best of all other philosophies. And for that very same reason, no other philosophy can accommodate democracy. Not without oppression, not without slavery. Words are the most important portion of society as well, because it's the words that we use that define the laws, that keep the peace amongst such a vast array of very different people with different wants, needs, beliefs, faiths, and what have you. And it's the words that have been twisted. There's an actual term, it's called psycholinguistics. It's when you manipulate the definition of a word in order to get an emotional reaction, an intended emotional result. And what I see happening here is called psycholinguistic manipulation. Justin Trudeau, for instance.
Oh, God.
Has anybody heard the term foreign fighters? Yeah. Foreign fighters, you know what he's talking about. It makes you think he's talking about a faction of the Canadian military, right?
Possibly.
No. When he addresses foreign fighters, he's referring to ISIS. Let that sit in for a minute and marinate on it. He's referring to ISIS. That's absolutely ridiculous. So you have 75% of the Canadian population who hears him say foreign fighters, and they're like, rah, Canadian military, they love us.
Well,
no, he's referring to ISIS. It is so very important for people to understand the definition, the simple and original definition of words, because they mean everything. So that when you look at policies, which do become law, which we all become bound to, you can understand exactly what the language within those documents is saying. Because this is the root problem of all of our issues. This is how the government has been able to impose upon our freedoms and our individuality. and restrict us is because when you don't completely comprehend what the agenda is, and it sounds nice, of course you're going to vote in favor of it. Of course you are. There's not a single person in this country that won't vote for something that makes sense or sounds like it makes sense. But read the fine print, folks, because the fine print is where it's at. And the definition of those words in the fine print is the most important aspect of those policies. I'm so proud to see everybody week after week show up here.
Yep.
And I promise you, next week on Canada Day,
Thanks for all the
I
love,
will represent
everybody.
every single one of your voices in Ottawa. I will take that podium and I will talk to the entire country and represent every single one of your concerns.
Yes.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. I invite Doug Ford out here.
Yeah.
Knowing that he's in that building right now.
Come, doggy.
Knowing that he can probably hear me. I invite him out here. I mean, what do you got to be afraid of? None of us out here are going to bite you.
Nope.
Come on out here and have a conversation, Dougie.
You can wear your
Rob
mask.
He wouldn't have hesitated because he was a man of the people.
His brother was.
Yeah, Rob was. Rob was absolutely a person of the people. And say what you want about him. Say whatever you want. That man was a man of the people.
Yeah.
This man is a liar.
Yeah. He's a puppet. He's become a puppet of the globalists. Yeah.
I am so absolutely impressed with Randy Hillier.
Yes.
The one man out of this entire house with the nerve to be for the people, with the nerve to stand up for our democratic rights.
Yes.
The one, and I'm so upset about that because there are 4 people in there that would not be sitting in their seats had it not been for me personally, as I worked my butt off to campaign for them. So shame on them, and I hope they can hear me too. I'm not going to call them out by name because I know that they're sitting on the fence. Let this be words of encouragement for you to get your butts up and out here where you damn well belong. But Randy Hillier, he stole my heart. Because for a man to stand up against an entire army of people that are trying to restrict our entire well-being
Yep.
is absolutely heroic.
Yeah. Thank you, Randy.
Very good speech.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
With that, I'm going to have Vlad come back up and say a few more words. And I know shortly the man himself will be out here to have a few words with us as well. Vlad.
Give it up for Kelly. If you guys haven't signed this, we're gonna be submitting this today. Just make sure you put, even if you did the online version, only the paper one will actually go to the legislature. So if you haven't signed this up,
It's
please
from
do
last
fill out
time
the
or a
application.
new one?
So, thank you again for everybody coming. It's a nice rainy day, which is great. Just a little, so it's not too humid
This is the
and hot for
petition
us.
to end the state of emergency in Ontario.
A few things that I want to
this-
touch on.
I think I signed it.
We will be moving into
Yeah.
the stage 2 of opening. Wow.
If it's twice, they can say it's...
Let's do
Оля,
a
они могут сказать,
recall
что это
for the
фронт
stage
twice.
to
Давай
everybody,
посмотрим.
right? What a joke. Come on.
Some of us signed
So,
it on Saturday.
Again, we've been told back in March
Oh,
that
this
we
is
need
a
to
new,
stay
yeah?
home. We need to social,
Did you
social
sign on
distance,
Saturday?
whatnot.
Or 2 Saturdays
We need
ago?
to protect
Yes.
the risk
Not 2
population and
Saturdays,
everyone
last
else.
Saturday I signed.
And we're going to do it
This
for
is
the
a
2 weeks.
petition to end
to
the
make
state
sure
of
that we
emergency in
protect
Ontario. You
the
might as
hospital
well sign it if you're not
capacity
sure, because there was another petition being
thousands
passed
and
against
thousands
mandatory
and thousands
vaccinations.
of people
So this was 2 Saturdays
flooding the
ago.
hospital.
Оля, чек.
And obviously,
Oh,
even in Canada,
Carlos, thank
we
you.
are all nice,
No,
polite,
just sign it,
considerate people.
Not-
Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yes, of course. That's why everyone loves Canada, right? If you ask anybody else in the world, how are the Canadians? You always hear the compliment, nice, polite. The sorry song is the joke, right? We use sorry about anything. Even if somebody bumps into us, we say sorry, right? Like, this is who we are. So, yeah, you bump into the tree, you apologize to the tree, right? Like, you want to talk about how nice and considerate Canadians are?
That's not serving
Well, guess
us right
what?
now.
We are nice and considerate, and that's why we're here today, and we've been here for over 2 months, because we consider of people that have been completely forgotten by this government. Like,
Ooh.
enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
As soon as the emergency order came in and they had to protect the capacity of the hospital, right away, over 52,000 necessary hospital procedures were canceled. I repeat, over 52,000 necessary hospital procedures were canceled. I'm not talking about some, plastic surgery stuff, whatever, even though some people have some important issues with that. I'm talking about cancer screening surgeries. I'm talking about heart disease surgeries. I'm talking about any other surgeries that people, somebody canceled the hip replacement surgeries. Like, if you don't adjust that, then you're immobile for the next 3 months. What kind of health status are you going to have 3 months
No,
later
I agree,
when you're
Fred.
supposed to be mobile and recover?
Being nice is
Can you
not
imagine
helping
that?
our cause
All
right
those
now.
are necessary, not elective, necessary hospital procedures. And every single week after that happened, over 12,000 extra necessary hospital procedures were canceled. What happened to those people? Who's thinking and considering those lives being completely ruined? No one. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Then we gotta talk about small businesses. And yes, everybody in the beginning, when myself and a few others that have been doing this movement from the day one, we try to educate people on social media, and we try to make sure people understand. There's a lot of different aspects that people need to consider. This is not a single issue. You have to look a little bit further than your nose to understand that when you implement such strict regulations, people, businesses, and livelihood will be affected. And that's their whole life.
Yeah.
Everything built on the small business environment for those lives. They invested, sometimes generations to build something up, and this is the own livelihood that they have. And it's a part of that. It's literally essential part of their well-being, and that's been completely discredited and forgotten.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about, where's my train of thought? So, and then what happened after that is the business class being suppressed because they are the free thinkers, right? They don't want to be talked about. They're not going to be pushing against. So yes. So what I was saying is, that people try to shame us with, well, your livelihood is more important than grandma, right? Don't kill my grandma. You're going outside and open up your business. Well, guess what?
There can be a middle ground. There has to be a middle ground.
And everything is important.
If you don't put food on the table to support your family,
there's a regular death rate for population, and it's just about 1%. That's just a statistic that happens. People die every single day from multitude of reasons, right? There's car accidents, there's other accidents that happen, there's other disease that happen, and anybody knows what's the age expectancy for Canadians?
Yeah, 84, 86.
84, 86 years old.
Yeah.
That's the age expectancy, how long the Canadian
Life expectancy,
is expected to live. 84 to 86 years old. Guess what's the average age of people unfortunately dying from this virus? Over 80 years old. So I'm sorry, which lives are we trying to save? And with all due respect, we gotta help everyone. But when it comes at the expense of people that's supposed to be living healthy and vibrant lives, and now they committing suicides, the cancer surgery is being cancelled, so they're gonna be unfortunately dying from cancer.
That's not acceptable.
Immune system is being suppressed because they're depressed and they unfortunately overuse drugs and alcohol, and it's happening all across the nation and all across the world because the government doesn't put the stress on the health and nutrition. All the money that this federal and provincial government spend in the last 3 months, giving money to pharmaceutical companies to make a vaccine for the virus, the death rate is comparable to regular flu, is ridiculous. All this money should be spent to elevate everybody else's health. And this is the biggest point that I want to make.
Of course, I know, Fred.
Instead of living in harmony and symbiosis with nature, and that's how we all should live, we try to create a fear and fighting against germs and viruses. We are made of bacteria. Our DNA is majority, not even ours, it's different bacteria part of us. And if you're fighting against yourself, guess who's gonna lose? You're gonna lose. And this is what people, these so-called health experts don't know. We know clearly what we're doing. Again, I said this before. If I could have understood in the first couple of weeks, the government officials wanted to be cautious and protect and whatnot. They didn't know what really is going to happen. We know now, after over 3 months of data, it's real. We have our own Sick Kids Hospital right here. One of the best hospitals in the whole country came out with a report on June 17th.
My pleasure.
Saying specifically, children outside do not transmit this virus. Children are not risk sector for this virus. Globally, this virus affects 5 to 10% of children globally. In Canada, less than 7% of children are affected by this virus.
And yet
when
they want
tested
to
over 5,000
do all
children
these bad
with
things.
symptoms, they only found 30 to be positive for this virus. Out of 5,000, only 30. When they tested 1,500 children with symptoms, they found 0 children affected with this virus. In the whole country, we had no one dying below 19 years old. And there's, I believe for Toronto specifically, I think 7 children needed hospitalization and 0 needed to go into ICU. 0. And today Tory said, even though we are finally going to move to stage 2 again, we can close to stage 2.
We are at Queen's Park for
Wow,
another
stage 2.
and the lockdown
They're not
protest.
going to open the playgrounds. This is
Are you
totally
serious?
ridiculous nonsense.
Wow.
And immediately,
Unbelievable.
children have to be outside.
Take your
Children have
kids
be
to
playing
the playground,
and
guys.
enjoying their lives.
Don't listen to these corrupt
If this is
politicians.
whatever time for children to boost your immune system and boost your health, this is the time now. Enough is enough.
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 And let's talk about a big elephant in the room. The big elephant in the room are masks. Masks have to be mandatory for all the municipalities. Our premier said he's not going to mandate the mask. Okay, fine, but they're going to mandate it from all the municipalities. So we're going to talk about Hugs of a Mask initiative. We're going to educate the people. It does work.
Yeah.
It tries to work.
Yeah,
It
they
does
do work.
So we're going to push. I'm going to come back. I'm talking a little bit.
Starting to
after.
rain
I'm
pretty
gonna
hard, guys.
Bring Kelly back so she can introduce
Woo.
our featured amazing speaker. Thank you, everyone.
Woo!
Vlad, everybody, thank you so much. So now, well, in light of, us being blessed by all this beautiful rain, without further ado, Mr. Randy Hillier.
Woo! Hey, Vlad.
Thank you for being here. And I guess, I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse.
This is MPP Randy Hillier. He's the only MPP standing up for the people, and
Listen, again, thanks for being here today.
he's
this afternoon.
pioneering
I
a
will be
petition to
taking
end the
this
state of
petition
emergency in
at
Ontario.
any time. We have about 3,000 signatures.
Woo!
I'll be tabling that
Yes!
as soon as I have an opportunity in the afternoon session. Then we will be debating the motion to continue and extend the state of emergency once again.
Yeah, thank you.
And I guess I would say,
End the lockdown!
opposed to this continued state of emergency.
Exactly, opposed to the mark of the beast. Lockdown. It's the bottom line.
I was getting dizzy listening to the debate this morning in the legislature. The MPPs were up speaking in favor of supporting the continued state of emergency. And then they listed a litany, a laundry list of abuse and problems and difficulties and harm and consequences that the people of Ontario are facing. And then they say, but we're going to continue this. Like, what the hell, how the hell can anybody list everything that's wrong with something?
The mark of the beast.
Unbelievable.
And demonstrate clearly and factually what is wrong with
The
this.
devil is a liar.
And then say, we're going to continue doing it for a few more weeks. I was always told, and I understood early in life, when you're in a hole, you stop digging. You don't keep digging.
MPP Randy Hillier speaking
But I will have to say,
in
this
favor
is
of
not-
ending the state of emergency in Ontario.
Something about this virus in this time is also really puzzling.
Yeah. I see a lot of people dying of the plague,
And,
falling all over the
but there's
place.
something else here. We have stopped and we have lost our ability to critically think and examine what's going on in front of us. And we've, this virus has attacked our thinking as much as it has attacked
That's
the
their
physical
goal.
health. And it's been a tragic for many people in long-term care, without a doubt. But I'm telling you,
They're being starved to
the
death.
attack on our thinking is going to have much longer-term consequences.
Yeah, the propaganda, the media propaganda is
It's
toxic.
sort of like we're not allowed to think anymore, and all we can do
Yeah,
is
and free speech is being censored
provide
everywhere.
virtuous platitudes in this place of thinking. And
This
we
man
can
is
see this,
correct.
Study after study has been showing that COVID-19 is transmitted by prolonged, sustained, close contact indoors.
Yes.
And we've seen the evidence. That describes long-term care to a T.
Yeah, and those poor
And
residents.
study after study, the Queen's University study, the University of British Columbia study, have all shown
People
that
are braving the rain to be here. Bless them.
inside close, prolonged contact.
It's coming no hard.
There's been no spike at Trinity Bellwoods 4 weeks ago. There was no spike with the
That's right.
BLM protest.
That's right.
There's been no spike anywhere where
MPP
large
Randy
groups of
Hillier
people have
speaking.
congregated, but still we're prevented from having our civil liberties, our freedom of expression, our freedom of assembly, but not freedom from the weather. We still use the weather.
Well, that's debatable too.
I don't want to keep everybody out in the rain, but I do want to tell you my conviction that I'll continue to fight, because I am not
Thank
convinced
you.
that this is the last time the Premier is going to bring another extension of the Emergency
Disgusting.
Management Act.
Disgusting. Boo.
And we've got to be vigilant, and we've
Yes.
got to keep fighting, and
Yes.
get more and more people to be aware that critical thinking is important. It's a must.
Yes.
Democracy is important.
Yes.
It is a must. And our
Yes.
freedoms and our liberties are a must.
Yes, yes,
I'm gonna
yes.
go in and see if I can convince these dizzying NDP speakers that they should oppose things that are harmful for us.
That's right. Thank you, sir. Woo! Thank you. Thank you, sir.
The
Thank
only
you.
man in this house who is standing up for the democratic rights of all people.
Thank you. Thank
And he is
you.
only supposed to be representing his own constituency, but no, he's representing everybody in this province. That is
Yeah.
the man of the people,
Bye.
for the
Bye,
people,
Tino.
and that is why we're here. We're here because there is hope. There is always hope.
What makes this country
As long as you speak up, all of our voices matter.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody's
Thank you
voice
very
is absolutely detriment. It's absolutely important. So where's that cute young boy? I'd like to get him up here. Hey, little guy, come here. He keeps running up here, so I'd like to do a little interview with him. What do you think, folks?
Anthony, come,
time
come.
now.
Anthony. He's
We've been coming out here for 9 weeks. 9 full weeks. We hug each other. We dance together.
He's hiding
We
in
celebrate.
under a
We
tree.
eat together. The children play together.
Bye, sir. Bye. Woo!
Right now I'm going to have Mike come up here. He's one of Randy's staff members, and he's got a few words to say. Mike, please.
Howdy, everyone. So I'm very glad that Randy Hillier was able to come out here today, rain or shine, and it's amazing that everyone else is out here and staying out here, because we can't be afraid, whether the rain, whether it's the virus, whatever it is, because rain can't kill us, and this COVID-19 ain't killing us either.
Yeah.
But I think one thing we're going to probably start doing is maybe cut this a little short, considering the fact that it is raining, just to let people, we've already had our message heard, we got some media coverage, we did our part. So one thing I would like to ask everyone to do, I'm thinking if we could get a group photo with everybody, get everybody underneath this tent. And then
Awesome.
we can take a nice big picture and then post that on our social media to show, even in the rain, we're not afraid to be here.
Yes.
Let's jump.
Everybody
Yes.
come on in.
Okay.
Come on in, little guy.
Okay, Facebook.
What's your name?
I'm gonna say bye now.
Jamesy.
Hi, Jamie.
Thank you all for watching. God bless y'all.
What's your name?
Take care.
Kristen.
Stay strong.